HSR finally dropped their 4.2 versions phase 2 banner, which is the Evanescia, and also alongside with the rerun characters of a Sunday, Trivi, and also the facial. Now the Evanescia is comes from the same path of the SP Silver Roof, which is recently ended, and also the main attention of this version 4.2, or which is the 3rd anniversary. Now she is also the same DPS as the Silver Roof, but the requirement of the Silver Roof is very much restricted compared to the Evanescia, because Evanescia is a energy based character. Meanwhile, the Silver Roof, or you can say the SP Silver Roof, is a kind of like a punchline generator, and if you don't even have any of those like a elation character or your team member of a Silver Roof, I guess your Silver Roof cannot even deploy the ultimate. So that's how much of a restricted she is, and that kind of punchline can only be generated by a certain character, especially Yao Guang and also the elation MC and also our Sparks. These three characters are very much of a viable options for your generating this punchline point, and this punchline point are going to be the main generator key for your Silver Wolf ultimate. Anyway, the main thing is that when the Evanescia was released in the beta testing, she was actually pretty much of a nerfed, because they really want to sell their main attention of this whole anniversary, which is the SP Silver Roof, and the performance that Evanescia was doing in that time was actually very much of a high compared to the SP Silver Roof damage. So they really nerfed her, or you can say they balance her to make the Silver Roof shine into the moment and also make her into the fall into the oblivion. So today I'm going to see that where she is even placed into this current tier list. Is she even really good, or is she even not? Because there was so much of a controversy was happening before her release, especially considering the how much the beta testing was destroyed her kit. But there was some kind of like a cases happened in HSR history that before release the developer totally changed her kit or added something else which just makes her viable to the core, and the people were never thought it would be. Another point is that people are actually comparing her E2 is a similar power level of the Evernight E2. If you just somehow able to get her E2, I guess you are going to be very much of a crack force, because that's the main thing what the Reddit and also other people are saying towards the player base. Enough yapping about her kind of like a history. Is she have any kind of impact having into this team, especially our former, or you can say the previous banner of a SP Silver Roof, because these two characters are totally same, and it is actually interesting to see that the HSR is the first time releasing those two DPS character in a one single patch, which is the SP Silver Roof, who is a DPS character, and also the Evanescia, who is also a DPS characters. In our previous anniversary, which is the 2nd anniversary, there was only a sub DPS which is from the erudition class, but not the same class from our main attention of the 2nd anniversary, which is the Castoris, who from the remembrance. But the thing about it was kind of like a different, but when it comes to this anniversary, they just totally changed the whole thing and somewhat deploying the two DPS character from the same path at the same time. Anyway, without further ado, let's start this video. But before starting these things, I am going to choose the pridin.gg site for this tier list making things, because most of the times they create very much of a controversy between the community, especially for such a particular games, Udaringas, Xenozone, and also other whoever's games. They are not only covered this kind of big gacha games, they also covered alongside with the 13 or 14 gacha games. So they are pretty much of a popular site to deliver this kind of tier list for very fast update. So take these kind of things as a grain of salt, don't take it as a seriously, because why am I saying this? When it comes to rating this kind of characters for the whoever's games, they always most of the time right, because whoever's games are very much of a tend to power keep for each and every patches, and HSR is a good, or you can consider as a great example for this kind of power keep issues. You can even find your character very much viable for a certain patch or certain endgame mode, but when the patch or honeymoon phase is over, the character is going to be the dog shit to the core. So most of the times they are right, but most of the times they are not. So they are kind of like creating a controversy between certain communities of this gacha game, whatever they cover. Anyway, I already have too much. Let's see where she is even placed here. So before that they already provided some kind of like about the tier list and also change catalog text. If I just somehow read all of those, I would be pretty much of a spoiled the whole things. Okay, the another part of this thing is that they already provided the three endgame mode, and you don't even have to go individually to see that where they belong into this particular endgame mode. All you have to do is just remain at the one times, and if you just move your cursor to a certain characters, that time you can even see where they place Pure Fusion and also Apocalyptic Shadow without just individually going onto those stages. Because in this game there is a 3 types of endgame mode: Memory Chaos, Pure Fusion, Apocalyptic Shadow. All those 3 endgame mode are going to provide you the same reward and also same 800 100 Primogems. Anyway, there is some kind of like apex tier. Apex tier I already mentioned before on my other previous video. These are the characters who does not even defy the meta. They are the meta because the meta is totally going to be revolve around them. Another meta character which is totally going to be shield towards the certain mechanics or certain elements. If your character is totally relevant into that meta, your character might be work pretty well, but if your character does not even work outside the meta, your character is not even going to be considered as an apex tier character. Apex tier character are going to perform each and every endgame mode without even the meta. Okay, this is the tier 0. Okay, there is lots of like ups character already from the previous position, and one thing is for sure, Evanescia is a tier 0 those 3 endgame mode, which is MOC, Pure Vision and also Apocalyptic Shadow. Damn, I never expected that she is going to be higher that much, especially her initial release. And as you can see that our Silver Wolf is not even a tier 0 for the Pure Fiction. So I guess I could say the Evanescia is the main winner and Silver Wolf was the fraud all along. My bad, that's not the main thing. Pure Fiction is a tier 0.5 because when the Castris was released, she does not even have her like a proper build up, so that's why she also provided, or you can say the rated as a tier 0.5 when she was initially released. But after some time later, when the Hyacinth and also other respective characters such as the Evernight, Cyrene was kind of like a good to have, not must to have for her team. When the other puzzle or missing pieces are coming along inside her team, she was considered as a tier 0 character. So Silver Wolf, I guess she really required a one character to make her tier 0 each and every endgame mode, which is a sustained character, because in this game they haven't even provided any of those like elation sustained character. So people are thinking that the next elation sustained character is going to be the Pearl. You already seen her from the story if you already do the this version 4.2 story and also the Planacardia story as well as. Anyway, the very interesting thing this, she is actually tier 0 each of those endgame, or you can say the 3 endgame modes at the same time. And our Trailblazer elation is also move up from the tier 0 to tier 0.5, because in the previous tier list belong from the tier 0.5 and now they are tier 0. Of course, the total recent endgame mode, which is the Pure Fiction and also upcoming endgame mode MOC and Apocalyptic Shadow, are going to be thrown over to the very much of a shield towards our elation, and of course they are going to be very much of a good for the elation teammate as well as. Just like the when the Remembrance MC was there and when the total of a endgame mode was not even shielding towards the Remembrance, that character was a tier 0.5, but when the shield started they were tier 0 each and every endgame mode. And the another interesting part is who is also move up, because as I already mentioned before, Evanescia is also a speed energy, or you can say the energy based DPS character just like the other normal standard characters. So when it comes to the energy DPS character, who would always going to be the shine towards that kind of team, because she not only provides you heal, she provides you speed, attack, energy and also lots of viability being a healer. That's the main thing. So you have to remember that the energy is not even that of a high, but the 20% energy can give you a way too much uptime, and also her cleanse is not even the emergency cleanse. She can just provide the cleanse when your character stands up if your character gets CC'd in a certain moments. Okay, that's all for the tier 0 things. Let's move on to tier 0.5. Nothing has been changed. All the things are remain at the same place, but one thing is for sure, why is not support DPS or sub DPS tier 0.5? Why it is totally empty? Damn, is any of those characters moved down? Let's see. No, all the characters have remained to their same position from the before. Okay, all the characters are same. Is there any character go up or move down? No, none of them. Okay, that's the pretty much of a normal tier list. Nothing change has been seeing right now, but let's see what kind of review they already provided into her section. And is she even good or not? Especially they are already always provide for each and every character pros and cons. Pros means what kind of benefit that you will get from her, and also what kind of disadvantage just having her on your account or on your team. The first point is going to be the spectacular, powerful elation DPS and AoE and single target, which is actually good. Ramps up quickly and easy to maintain. Of course, well, her ultimate has a two types of kind of two energy bars, just like our previous old character, which is a mid-genti or Argenti. This Argenti also have like a two types of ultimate bar, but maintaining those two ultimate bar was actually kind of like a hard. You have to use like a dedicated harmony characters who can even provide you a high amount of energy recharge, and that character is none other than the our Sunday and also the Ho-Ho Tingyun. She is actually 4-star character, so that character was kind of like a restricted. But when it comes to the Evanescia, she also in her build kit energy types of things, so she does not even need that much of a restriction to fill up her energy in each and every waves. Okay, for the third point is going to be the performance floor is very high, which makes her very much of a consistent. Okay, for the fourth point, performance ceiling is actually among the absolute highest in this game. I actually don't even understand what the things performance they are trying to make here. If you already know, you can even just totally know from the comment section. I just totally cannot even get that point. Anyway, for our next point, which is going to be the absolute stat devil with a good build versatility, of course, because on her kit you can even get the crit rate and crit damage and also speed. So building her with a traditional 60 or 120 crit damage is going to be the actually very much of a good one. For the next one, which is going to be very easy to pick up and play while being rewarding to master, as they already mentioned in their previous points that she doesn't even require that much of a stats, because in her inbuilt stats or traces you can even get much higher stats, so the building option is going to be the very much of a easier than ever. And another point is that as she is very easy to play and also have a good flexibility, I guess you are going to be master at her playstyle with less efforts. Okay, for the next one, which is going to be the strong accessible teams and decent non-standard picks. Okay, that's the point why they are making her very much of a crucial point, because when it comes to the silver roof, or you can say the SP silver roof, she was very much very restricted. As I already mentioned before, she required Sparksy to generate the punchline point. You are going to generate the AHA points and also overall whole damage of AHA damage, and also another character you would require in the future, which is going to be the Pearl. So she is actually very restricted, and her ultimate does not follow the traditional like energy based ultimate. You have to do certain restrictions. If you cannot even meet those expectations or restriction, you might not be ever able to deploy her ultimate in the battlefield. Okay, for the another second point, for the next point, which is the exceptional vertical investment options, of course, as I already mentioned before, on her E2 she is the same level as the March 7, or you can say the Evernight. So if you just somehow have enough pools options, I guess you could just totally make her to up to E2. For the next one, which is a plenty of room to grow even more powerful in future, of course the future is already very looks promising for the Planacardia. Planacardia already started, so if there any elation characters comes off, she is going to be have another good elation team member on her roster. For the last one, which is the 200% motivated, not going to talk about it because her playstyle is actually Virgil style, and when it comes to the motivated things, it is totally always gated towards your Virgil or Devil May Cry reference. Okay, for the cons, very low, man. First point is going to be the still reliant on elation teammates to make the most of her elation damage, needs that constant churn of certified banger. So as the pros point, in the future, if they are already going to release more elation characters, I guess she can even have a second team beside, or you can say the alongside of the SP Silver Roof, because SP Silver Roof really required those two characters, especially the Sparksy, and also you are going to work perfectly. So in that case, Evanescia cannot even have those two member who does really require the Silver Roof very highly. So if the future does provide you another like alternate option, another elation options, she's going to be actually good. But right now in current situation, she is actually having a hard time because those two characters are totally required the same team member. Okay, for the second point, which is going to be the hyper KD style, means she won't even play well with the other elation units. Of course, she is the actually pure DPS character. She does not even have like a support capability where you can even have a support on a DPS kits. So she's actually going to be the hyper carry all along. For the second point, or you can for the next point, which is the surprisingly fragile if not built with the defense in mind. Okay, so I guess she's also going to be the following the same rules of the Silver Roof, because Silver Roof can give you very much of a high crit rate and also high crit damage. So in the Silver Roof build, you have to maintain the 200 speed, not even think about like crit rate or crit damage, just like any other traditional characters. So for her case, she is also following the same things. She does not even require that much of things, because on her kit she can give you much more than that. So building her defense and also building her a sustainable character rather than a stat monster, she is actually going to be provided you much value than ever. For the last point, for the cons, which is they does not have a launcher to order from it. So sorry, this is also another joke point they always make for each and every characters. Okay, let's move on to the build and team sections, and let's see which Litecoin is going to be the best in slot options for her, because in her previous character, which is the SP Silver Wolf, she really required her signature weapon to work perfectly, because in this game the game is still not even go that far of a planecardio, so they did not even provide that much of a elation LC options, but they did provide some kind of like a event elation LC, 4-star LC, and also somewhat like a 5-star LC from the Harta LC. And it is actually really need to see that is she actually really much of a restricted just like the SP Silver for her LC's options or not. For the best in slot option is going to be the Until the Flowers Bloom again, which is her main signature weapon, and it is of course going to be the best in slot for her. For the second option is going to be the Today's Good Luck, another of a Battle Pass light cone. Damn man. Next option is going to be the Dazzle by the Flower World, which is a Sparksy light cone. If you don't even have a Sparksy but you just totally missed pulling on the Sparksy light cone, and you just get the Sparksy light cone, I guess this is the time you can even just totally use your LCs on her. Okay, for the next option, which is going to be the Today's Good Luck, it is also a Battle Pass options, and if you just somehow don't even have enough money to make it S5, S1 is also going to be the good options. For the next one, which is going to be the Mushi Showroom Adventure, good F2B options. If you just somehow have not able to get any of those things, I guess S5, which is of course you can even do that if you just do the endgame properly, because doing the endgame properly, there will be going to give you some kind of like currency which you can even just buy from the shop, from the MOC shop, what I'm trying to say here. For the last option, which is the Tomorrow Together, I guess it is going to be the 3-star option, sorry not 3-star, 4-star options, and I guess it is going to be the worst option that you could even find. Mushi Showroom Adventure, best option 1. The Relics is also the same as the Silver Roof, which I am talking about, and the Feet and also Planet Sphere that which they are trying to give you, which is going to be anything according to the cons, where they totally told you is that she's actually fragile. If you really want to build her with a good sustainable status, I guess you should even just totally focus on a defense and also HP rather than attack and also other crit damage or elemental damage. Or okay, pretty much a normal build similar to SP Silver, nothing to see here. For the calculation, let's see where she belongs. Damn, as I already mentioned before, from her E0 to E2, which is a base form to Constellation 2, the damage is actually high, which is almost 100%. Damn man. If you just somehow able to get her, man, who am I? So I just totally forgot to see what kind of teammate she really required. Okay, from the premium elation teams, which is of course consist of a Trailblazer Elation, and it is not actually considered as a premium team. The cost is actually low, very low. In here, only the character is a limited one, is going to be those two characters, which is the Evanescia and also the Yaoguang, but the other characters you can even just totally get from the shops, because in this current 4.2 version they just provided Huho from the what's the shop again, Golden Spirit shop. Yes, you can even just totally find it and also pull it from there. You don't even have to worry about pulling for her in the banner. And this is not a premium team, I will consider it as a pseudo premium. Okay, for the next team, which is going to be the No Yaoguang team, if you are unable to get Yaoguang from not playing the game when the Yaoguang was there, you can even just totally use this kind of team which is consist of a Sparkle, Tribi, and also Ruanme, Sirene. Of course, Sirene is going to be best in slot for her, because when the Sirene deploys her ultimate, she can just totally recharge whole over the teammates on your team ultimate at one click, what I'm trying to say here. Okay, Huho, of course, as I already mentioned before, when it comes to a energy normal standard DPS character, Huho will be there. Okay, there's nothing to be seen here, all the things are totally normal. So as you can see that the tier list has not even that much of a change, but the most important two changes has been which is a Huho and also the Trailblazer Elation. Of course, they are going to be up because the content is shifting towards the Elation, and Elation is going to be dominated for another 1 year until there are going to be another path, which is a propagation path. People are actually expecting them to release for the next anniversary, and I already heard so many leakers that they are going to release so many SP characters, and Blade SP is going to be the first character that we are going to get SP. Sorry, my bad, Blade SP is not the first. We already had one, which is the Silver Roof, or you can say the SP Silver Roof. So I guess this is the start where we are going to have the Himako SP, Blade SP, Echiron SP, and also Firefly SP as well as. Anyway, the tier list already same to their previous position, but it is actually really hard to see that our Silver Roof, which is the main attraction of this anniversary, did not even pass the Evanescia, where Evanescia has totally dominated her into the pure fiction field. Anyway, don't take it seriously. This is all about like one patches, and after next patches, if the content is not shield towards your this character or that character, your character is not going to be performing well. Okay, I guess that's all for this video. If you like it, leave a like, and also if you have any kind of comments regarding this kind of tier list position on her, you can even totally comment on the comment section, and see you on the next video. Peace.